Today's guest is a leader who is known for things beyond accolades and titles. She's known for having a big heart, big energy, and making them clap till their hearts smile. I'm so excited to introduce you all to Kristin Daniel, the most famous LSU Tiger Girl choreographer, who all of you have been sending me her videos in my DMs. But today we're going to talk about how she's navigated growth, change, and internal shifts that come into stepping into bigger rooms. Welcome, Kristin.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, this is so much fun. I was telling Kristin before we got started, you guys, I have always known Kristin's mom to be Cousin Pam. And so last night I called my mom and I'm like, Mom, Cousin Pam who had the snowball stand, tell me how we're related. So I had to write it down on a card, which is hilarious. And my mom started off with like pops, brothers, sisters, child, and I could not follow that. But that is like Lafayette, Louisiana at its finest. Everyone is
To a
related.
T. To a T.
And all of our parents know exactly how, but to bottom line it, my grandfather was your mother's great uncle. So I think I got that right.
Yeah. Sounds right to me. I trust you.
But I call this podcast Roots and Rebirth. We always start at the beginning. We talk about people's roots, their origin stories, who they are, how they got there. And then the rebirth, there's usually one or two moments in time where there's an obstacle that is overcome. And then you transform into something much bigger than life ever could explain to you. And that is the rebirth. And so, just following your story from social media and hearing from family, like that truly explains who you are and how you got to where you are today. But I love for you to start off with those roots.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, my roots definitely, as you mentioned, I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. I think most people are familiar with me as a choreographer. And so before that started, I started off dancing. Started dancing at the age of 3. I think my parents just like saw me doing splits around the house and needed something to put me in while my brother was playing baseball at like the local park. So they just like put me in the studio down the street, and I trained there doing like tap and jazz, like pretty much, the traditional dance studio that most people know. And I think my parents just started to realize that I might have had something a little bit special going for myself. And so my mom quickly understood that I needed to get more of like a technical foundation to really help catapult me in this, if this is something that I wanted to do. So I started training in ballet. Along with tap and jazz, but I went to a strictly ballet school. And so I did that. And I was like, I thought I was going to be a ballerina. I thought I was going to be the next Misty Copeland, like, all the things. But that was not my journey. I don't think I had the body for it, to be honest. But I did train at like very prestigious programs, and I studied at Dance Theater Harlem whenever I was 11, and shortly thereafter did ABT when I was 13. And then it was kind of at that point where I started to realize like that I might need to really hone in on the commercial side of things. So that was kind of like the first road bump, because I really I love ballet to this day. I still love ballet, and that's what I thought I was going to do. But that ended up being such a blessing for me, and is the reason why I'm here talking to you today. And I kind of just leaned into like the jazz side of things and like hip hop and contemporary, that whole world. And I mean, at that time, like So You Think You Can Dance, it started like blowing up, and like, so dance was really starting to get commercialized. So it kind of just seemed like all roads were connecting for me. And I thought I was going to move out to LA immediately whenever I was, whenever I was 18, whenever I graduated high school. And my dad said, absolutely not. You tried it, but that's not happening. You're going to school. And so I went to school.
Point out, your dad is a big guy and he looks very serious.
Oh, he's the biggest teddy bear, to be honest. He is very serious though. Very serious about like education and, things like that. And I mean, to be frank, I excelled in school as well. So it was kind of like, it was just like why are you, not at least getting this, on your way to becoming what you really want to do. And I didn't understand it, but but I am grateful I didn't understand it. I did not. And to this day, a part of me is like, man, what if I would have? But if I wouldn't have, I don't think I would have been as prepared for everything in my life that I've had to handle thus far and the businesses that I've done and, the events that I've like held and things like that. Because I went to school for hospitality management. I didn't go to school for dance, actually. So I graduated with a business degree and I did it in 3 years because I told him, I was like, I'm getting this done as soon as possible. So I think I had like 21 hours my last like semester. I don't know, something like
I know that
maybe
all too
illegal.
well.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe this is legal. I don't even know. Like, I just was like, I'm graduating. Like, I'm not taking 3 hours in the summer. But anywho, so graduated in 3 years. But my third year, I was actually assisting probably like one of the most like, notable dance conventions in my opinion, and some of the most notable choreographers, excuse me. But so I was assisting the Pulse on tour. So that was like where my professional like dance career really started to take shape. I got to assist people like Brian Friedman and Sandra Chavez, Tice Diorio, Brooke Lipton, who gave me one of my like most prominent jobs on Glee. Tice Diorio, I assisted him on So You Think. Wade Robson, Gil Doldelau, like Lorian Gibson, just like Trisha Miranda, amazing, amazing choreographers that I'm just so honored to have studied under. And I definitely believe have, shaped my voice as a choreographer today and have just, imparted a lot on me. So that's what I was doing my final year of college. And then I moved straight to LA after that. And the rest is kind of history. I just started dancing professionally. And like I said, I was on Glee and did an episode of Grey's Anatomy, worked on So You Think, danced for Carrie Underwood, did a couple national commercials. So things like that. And it was shortly thereafter that I started choreographing myself. And that just kind of kept, growing and growing and growing eventually to the point where I was choreographing more than I was dancing professionally. So yeah, that's kind of the roots of my story. And then I guess it gets deeper from there, but
Oh, it's so cool. And there's so much I want to like double click on. But before I get into all of that, like very serious question. Did you get Carrie Underwood's leg workout? Because I really want
no, I didn't. But it was so funny. I believe that was her first like music video with dancers, question mark. I'm not really sure. But Cowboy Casanova was actually my first job, and I actually booked that job here in Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So
a woman
cool.
named Kim Bernard. Like I saw a random like call for an audition, and I like submitted myself. And I got it. Funny enough, the call was for Caucasian females, and I was like,
Lafayette, man.
I was like, I'm just gonna make sure my hair is extra straight that day. And
Yeah, it's Lafayette. You can never tell,
yeah,
right?
I know. So but I ended up getting it. So it was funny because nobody, I mean, Kim knew, and obviously the dancers knew, but nobody else on set knew. And I was just like, wow, this is insane. But like, I got the job, and she's actually been one of the major reasons why I was able to work so much here in Louisiana. She's given me a lot of opportunities. I've choreographed for TV, a show called Astronaut Wives Club on ABC. I've done some movies, all because of like her referral and recommendation and assisting her on projects. So yeah, but no, I did not get Carrie Underwood's leg workout. And that is a big fumble on my part now that I think about it.
Next time, help me go out. Come on.
I know. I'm like, it's okay. We got dancer leg workouts. I can send you
Okay,
those,
I need that. I'm 2 years away from 50, and that's my goal for then.
Listen, I'm like, yeah, where'd they go? I was like, I need my dancer legs, so got to start doing my plies and releves and petit allegro again.
Oh,
So
thanks. I love it. Well, your story is similar to mine in that I started working in television. I was a
oh, nice.
KLFY TV10 teen reporter, like the first or second crop, and knew at 16 I wanted to get into television news and worked all through college. And so my last year, I worked at WBRZ Channel 2 News in Baton Rouge and graduated in 3 years. I was like, I got to get the hell up out of here because in TV, time matters, degrees don't matter.
Yeah.
And I finished, but also I think I had 21 hours one year. Definitely had 3 classes in the summer. One year I did UL for summer and then went back to LSU for something the back half. It just was like a lot going on,
Some winter intercessions were in there.
Yes,
It's like
yes,
we gotta go.
But I wonder if this is the case for you. I look back and I was so focused on being grown to the point where I left a year on my LSU scholarship, like book, board, tuition, and I could have just been taking like golf lessons and hanging out with people my age and maybe even learning how to slow down in any way. We all say life has no regrets, but in any way, do you wish you'd have done things differently?
That's like so incredible that you brought that up because that is my exact sentiment. And I feel like you're actually the first person that I've met and talked to that has had a story that's run pretty parallel to mine as far as like timeline and like all the things. And now that you bring up, it's like not necessarily a regret, but maybe like just like a deeper understanding now that it's like that can only come with experience, right? But yes, same thing. I had TOPS, which is like a Louisiana scholarship program for those that don't know, but I had TOPS. I had a scholarship from the university. I had other scholarships that I had received like from, writing and applying for scholarships and things like that, and left all of that on the table to go pursue my dreams, which I'm happy that I did pursue it because at the time, that was when I needed to jump. I was already working on Glee before I graduated from college. So it was like I needed to go and like, do all of that and see that through. But there is a part of me that's like, man, like, what did I miss out on with like my college friends that last year of school? Like, what I could have probably pocketed some, like, some more money. I did pretty well for myself, but I could have, pocketed some money. Like you said, just learned to slow down, spent some time with, family and friends, and just been like a full and more whole version of myself just as a person, instead of just Kristin, the dancer.
Yeah.
So I think that's like, yeah, something that I definitely reflect on and talk about openly is like, yeah, I might be like, I guess you would say like a tiny bit of regret is like woven in there. But it's like you're just so laser focused and so zoned in that sometimes you don't think of those things until, after the fact, which is, it's so funny that you share your experiences pretty similar and that we both have like the same sentiment about it. So
hey y'all, Terry here. I am all about transformation, and that includes how we care for our bodies. That's why I love Pure Method Collagen by Dr. Dina Peralta Rake. It's clean, science-backed, and made for those who want to feel radiant from the outside in. Right now, my Roots and Rebirth family gets 15% off. Just head to puremethod.co and use promo code Terry at checkout. Because rebirth starts with nourishing every part of you, inside out.
It's like, it's so made me who I am, but it also like left imprints that with things that I still struggle with today. So I remember, I graduated from college. I'm like 22, going to the club until 2 o'clock in the morning, club upscale on Highland Road in Baton Rouge. Then literally driving a half a mile to Channel 2 to get to the TV station to produce the morning news, still in my club attire. And then Whitney Van would always be like, "You having a good morning, aren't you?" Like, she's every little thing we had. So it was like I still was able to have some of the fun that the others were having, but at the same time, I'm there grinding, 22 years old, writing the news, telling the director what we're going to do, and literally having to defend what I decided as the top headline of the day when the adults came in to read the news. And so it's being able to hold those two complexities are just something that we don't get to do as kids. You never get to decide between two extreme polarities like that. But when I talk about the imprint, it's really, I'm still on that hamster wheel. As many rebirths as I've had, as many times as life has slowed me down, and God has literally put me on a couch after a major concussion, I still struggle with like, no, it doesn't have to be go. Like, we can be fully present and in body to really give everyone the real gift, which is, the heart and not the head. So I love that you can share that with others, because that is something that I would have loved knowing at 20 and not at, in my late 40s.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's so, I just feel like I'm looking at a bit of a mirror at the moment. So it's kind of just like I'm processing as you're speaking. But to your point of like God, like literally like, putting you on a couch. Mine is for a very different reason. I closed a business last summer that pretty much, took up about, I'd say 75% of my life. So, and, my life in general without it was not slow by any means, but, incorporating that into my life. And I had the business. It was a dance studio, pre-professional studio for 5 years. That put me on like the ultra hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And so now that, I don't have that entity like in my life anymore, I'm like I've been sitting a lot on the couch, doing a lot of reflecting. I've actually been like reading the Bible every morning, just like something I've never done. I mean, of course, like, I grew up going to Catholic school and all of that stuff. So we would read like excerpts and scriptures and things like that. But I've never actually taken the time to like read the Bible. And I just feel like I'm in a very like preparatory part of my life that feels very intentionally grounded. And it's not by my doing. It's definitely like, God's doing. So I think as hard as it is for me, just as a personality of not wanting to ever sit down and reflect, I do feel like I have I have better tools to cope with it and to understand it and to give it that time and space that it needs in my life, whereas I didn't whenever I was like 20. So, but I am very much in that space right now, and it's still hard. So I definitely, I definitely understand what you're saying. It's like that hamster wheel mentality is just, especially I think, for me, it's about also being a Black woman from the South. Like, it's like, we're always on go. We're always like, it's the next thing. Like, we got this, like, all this stuff. And I think taking the time to like, to check on ourselves and to like make sure that we're okay and to not necessarily feel the need to prove anything to anyone other than developing a strong connection with ourselves and with the higher power that we believe in. I think like that is just as important. And I don't feel like we often get the space to feel that. So I think like that's kind of also part of my journey at the moment. So
Yeah, I love it. I'm totally in a similar place. It's like, I'm both religious and spiritual, and I hear myself
same.
waking up in the morning and like praying more than I ever have. Because when you
Mm-hmm.
do go to Catholic school, it's like it's automatic, like
Yeah.
you get like actually thinking of the words and
Mm-hmm.
saying them, and it coming from me and not a book or something
Mm-hmm.
that is memorized. But I also, all day I'm talking to my guides, my family in heaven. Like I feel this presence, and it's very grounding to use the word that you use, but I know it is preparing me for something that I don't understand right now. And I think a lot of
Absolutely.
times, you know, we can either get on the dance floor and just dance full out and be in the mix of all the people, and just that wave and the people will take us and lead us, or we can get in the balcony and think about what is it that I want to do and how can I serve me, myself, the world, him, like all the things. And the decision that you make between being here or there changes the trajectory of your life. And
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I really like sharing with people if, they're facing adversity or burnout, or they don't even know like what college major to pick. It's like, don't be on the dance floor because you're going to miss the beauty of everything about yourself and what is around you. Get in the balcony and really
Mm-hmm.
take it in. And that will always, always lead you in the right direction.
For sure. No, it's perspective, and sometimes when you're too deep in something, you can't see the beauty of everything around you. I guess maybe to like kind of dive a little bit deeper into the metaphor you're using, but sometimes removing yourself, like you get to see all the beauty around you and choose which direction you want to go. Like, but you wouldn't have that perspective if you you know, stayed on the dance floor, like, in the mud. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes
Yeah.
it's okay to just to remove yourself and in order to find yourself. So
Yes. Kristin, everyone has been raving about this year's UDA competition. I can't tell you
mhm.
how many times I've gotten video of your dance, and it was incredible. First of all, I have to tell you,
Thank
I am
you.
the biggest Britney Spears fan.
Oh,
So,
really?
oh,
Aren't we all though?
I I am too old to be telling this story, but I will share. I I guess this might have been in 2011 or 2012. I saw Britney in Vegas like Christmas Day, and the
Mhm.
first note dropped and I cried. Like I'm a
This is
Louisiana.
understandable.
But
This is understandable. I fully get it. I get it. I do.
like, man, this is just what we do. But I love for
Well, and
you.
I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the crying, like it's so funny because whenever the first note dropped of Oops, I Did It Again, I can't even tell you how many people came up to me and were like, why am I sobbing in the arena? Why am I sobbing watching this routine? Like, why am I sobbing to Britney Spears? But it's a universal experience, clearly. I mean, it's just that first note hits and
I am not alone.
it's
I needed to hear that.
no, that's why I was like, I feel like you should know.
Oh my God, I love it. But you have done such a beautiful job of bringing us all joy through dance.
Oh,
And,
thank you.
I'll be very frank. I'm an LSU girl, was on the LSU homecoming court, just got inducted to a Hall of Fame there. But I had no idea who the Tiger
Congrats.
Girls were until you.
Oh,
So
well,
the thing is, I live out of state, and we didn't have the Tiger Girls when I was in school. Most of my
okay.
friends were Golden Girls. Uh,
Okay.
but so, yeah, fill in everyone who's not from Louisiana and tell them the story of how you got connected with the TG unit.
Well, I actually choreographed for a studio in Baton Rouge. And at the time, this was maybe, I guess, going on 4 years now. The coach for the Tiger Girls, her name's Candace. She saw a piece that I had set for that studio, and she's like, who did that? I need that for the Tiger Girls. Like, I love that. And funny enough, the studio owner was like, that's Kristin. That's who I've been telling you about. So she connected us. Tari, the studio owner, connected us, Candace and I, and Candace reached out to me, I think like the next day. And we set up a time for me to go out and do pretty much like a trial class just to see how the dancers like were receptive to my style, my teaching style, and, you know, how I felt, you know, working with them and if it was kind of a good, you know, situation. And I think, you know, as soon as I taught like the first 8 count of the combo, I taught them, I think it was maybe April of 2023. So yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah. As soon as I taught them like the first 8 count of that combo, they were like, oh my gosh. And it was just like crazy energy. And, you know, then I got lunch after with Candace and we hit it off kind of instantly, just, you know, became friends. So that's kind of how it all got started. I knew she hadn't told me officially yet, but a part of me knew I had gotten the job just because it just kind of felt like, you know, it just felt right. And I think just, yeah, I think it's just been a match made in heaven kind of sense,
Oh my
you
God.
know? So with that, I mean, it means a lot that, you know, that my work has like translated to so many people, like you said, like not really having known much about the Tiger Girls until, you know, my stuff is like crazy for me to hear because it's just like, you know, whoa. But I'm really proud of them. I'm proud of the work that we've all done and, you know, just happy that the world is getting to like experience them. And especially through, I mean, through my work, like through my eyes and my voice, like that's really, really special. And I'm really grateful for that. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's how
it
I got
feels like
connected.
so if you guys have not seen Kristin's work, you have to go and follow her. She did Burn, which you all loved, and the Aaliyah dance. They were so much fun. But Kristin, I can't tell you, the first time I saw the Tiger Girls, it was because someone sent your work. And I was like, how do I not know about them? But I really want to know, like, you know, how do you train the girls? You talk about grit. Do you, you know, talk to them about expressing their inner voice? You know, do you remind them to show a little bit of who they are? Like, your work has a thumbprint on it, and it's a little bit of you with a little bit of them. So I want to know, what is that sauce or all the ingredients in the gumbo?
I love that, the gumbo reference. You know, I definitely don't take credit for training them. I mean, I have 2 on the team now that I've trained since they were little. So obviously those are my kids, but you know, they're under really great leadership now. Their coach, you know, we go in and we choreograph. And I think, you know, we as choreographers get a lot of the credit, which I mean, you know, trust me, it's like a full-time job. Like we do a lot. But after, you know, we get all the ducks in a row, all the puzzle pieces laid out, it's really up to the coaching staff to get them to deliver the product that you guys see on stage. And so, you know, the coaches are definitely responsible for training them, for like coaching them up to that point. And, you know, obviously we'll come in and, you know, I'll drop a few like, you know, nuggets and like, you know, things that are unique and true to me that I want the dancers to then take and translate through themselves, like as a team. So that's definitely, you know, I do think I have a very specific voice and a very specific choreographic perspective, and I don't think it's easy to do at all. So
Yeah.
I think that that the Tiger Girls do a great job of really embodying my work and putting it in such an impeccable light on such a massive stage. I mean, they call that the dance Super Bowl, you know? So, you know, but yeah, I mean, I definitely can't take credit for training them, but you know, I do think I come in, you know, when needed and try to impart what I can, you know, on them to be able to deliver as performers and, you know, to kind of just be different, to own being different and to trust that. So,
Yeah. Well, I want to end with just a little bit more about your rebirth. You are having a rebirth right now, or there's change and transition in your life. What you talked about reading the Bible every day, but what spiritual tools or what practices or rituals that you do either daily, weekly, or monthly that keep you centered?
I don't know that I have an answer to that question. I think probably the biggest thing that I've implemented in my life is reading the Bible daily. I think just throughout my life, I've pretty much just been all systems go. But what those systems actually were, we don't know. So we're just going. And again, to use the hamster wheel reference, just going, going, going. But I do think that reading the Bible has started to implement like a system or a practice or, into my life that I've needed for a very long time. And I think that's the start of me like putting more emphasis on, me, my connection with God, what I need, instead of just living my life to be able to provide services to others across the world, because that's what
Yeah.
I've done. So this time is really weird for me, but I know it's very necessary as well. So I'm hoping that in this time of, just kind of being in a more grounded, space in life, I can definitely develop more systems and more, practices, rituals, like, moments throughout my days to like help improve the overall health of my life and the perspective of how I live and, what matters to me. So I really got nothing. I got nothing except it's just me and the Bible and, big God right now. That's pretty much it. So
Oh my gosh.
Hey friends, it's Terry. You've heard me say that transformation comes through both roots and rebirth. And sometimes that means finding light in our hardest moments. That's why I'm loving Lumankind's Light Through Loss Mindful Mark Pack. These wearable reminders help me center, reflect, and rise. Treat yourself for someone you love. Go to lumankind.com and use Terry15 for 15% off. Because even in loss, light finds a way.
Well, you come over here to Austin. I'm going to get you set up with some crystals, some energy healing, like
yes.
spiritual acupuncture, like all the things.
Spiritual acupuncture sounds incredible. My best friend is very much like on that same like wavelength with you. And I mean, she teaches me what she can, but I mean, she just has a knack for it, but like, much like yourself. So I just, I'm like, give me all the things. I'm very open to all of that stuff. I've like charged my crystals before. I've like done all that, but I've never kept up with it. It's just, I've kind of just lived a little bit more like in like chaotic spurts. But I'm like, I would like to have things that like feel like they resonate with me and that they're true to me in every season of my life.
Oh my
And,
gosh, I will so help you. I love spiritual acupuncture. I actually do it in Austin with a beautiful soul who I'm actually going to go to Bali with in June because I need a real reset. But it's like regular acupuncture, but she also places crystals and a lot of the needles are at your chakras. And then she also plays like a singing bowl. So you'll get a tone
nice.
bath. And it's just the most incredible experience where your body and your soul feel rested. Not just your body, but your soul too. But my friends laugh at me. I always keep on me like some crystals with my St. Christopher medal. And I'm like, I need a whole crew. I'm from Louisiana, so crew with a K. Right? So I will always have some little prayer cards and some crystals because everybody's coming with me. But
I love it.
But yeah, it wasn't until I had a major concussion that I referenced earlier in 2019 where I didn't work for 3 months. Once I graduated college, I started working in TV. Then I switched to politics and just never stopped. And got to a point where God was like, "You're not listening." And right before my concussion, I told my mom I kept hearing car crashes. And my brother was working in Baton Rouge and driving to Lafayette all the time. So I thought like he needed to slow down. But it was really about me. So I got hit in the head with the sofa, and which sounds wild. But Raheem Devon was
Wow.
my witness. He saw it happen. It was it's a crazy story for another time.
Wow.
But
Wow.
but that led me to like finding spirituality along the side of Catholicism, and it's changed my life, especially
Wow.
post divorce, which post trauma, because or anytime you have trauma, something usually changes. I'm much calmer, I see
Mm.
more clearly. I can feel things. Very intuitive. It's just been an incredible journey. The house that I'm moving to in a couple of days, um, literally the truck my dad had the day that he died was outside of the house when we walked out after we saw it. And
Wow.
if I was on that hamster wheel, I would have missed it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so it's always so much fun just to share, the different modalities and tools with people. So I will get you like a whole like Cliff Notes version or a cheat sheet.
Oh, please. Yes. Hook me up. Get me, get me right. Get me right.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I laugh because I think my mom knows I do all this stuff, but I don't think she knows. So I'm like waiting for her to listen to this podcast one day and like come to Austin with holy water to throw it on me or something.
No, gotta live your life, as long as we're helping others. Like that's all that matters. But I understand what you mean. I mean, my grandmother was in church every day. So the holy water, would have been right there with her too. So
So what's next? What are you looking forward to the rest of the year?
Well, I'm kind of just taking it easy. Summer's like spring, summer, fall is pretty jam-packed for me always. So as hard as it is for me to sit still right now, I'm kind of trying to remember that and enjoying this time of sitting still. But I'll start doing self-produced projects, visuals. I'll start traveling, all over, both nationally and internationally, setting choreography and teaching master classes and just doing things like that. So that'll kind of be what's next for me. And, but I think just definitely this next chapter of my life is going to be me repositioning myself in the commercial dance space, because as I mentioned, I had a pre-professional studio. So that kind of took a lot of my time and devotion. So I think for me, it's just repositioning myself in the space where I feel like I belong at this juncture in life. So that's pretty much what's next. And just embracing time with family and friends, that's something that I have missed a lot of. In growing up, ever since I was little, and dance started to become a very real, viable thing for me. And my parents recognized that too. And they made a bunch of sacrifices to get me everywhere to train and to study. That also came with sacrifices on my end of, family and friend time. And that has actually,
Yeah.
that's continued through my entire life. And I definitely know I'm not alone in the fact that, I make sacrifices, but I do think I'm at a point where I can definitely appreciate a little bit more of maybe saying no to things that aren't necessary for me to do just because I feel like I have to do it, or I should do it because it's what I've always done. I think I'm just at a point in life where I can just like say no and be at peace with that, because my family time or my time with friends is just as important as feeding that professional side of my life. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. That's what's next. And hopefully some big projects I can share with you
Yes,
in the
I
near
love
future.
it. It's so
Thank
beautiful.
you.
I mean, for those people that are listening, where we're from, everyone talks about joie de vivre, which means the joy of life. But the way you laid that out, that is truly the joie de vivre that we all strive for. I love it so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, tell people how they can find you.
Oh, yeah. I'm on Instagram at Kristin Daniel, Kristin, Daniel with no S. And then on TikTok, it's the same thing, but Kristin.Daniel. YouTube is Kristin Daniel. Pretty much everywhere, Kristin Daniel. You can find me and connect with me. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
I love it. Thank you so much just for like your honesty and your grace and elegance. It's like you remind us all that growth isn't about becoming someone else. It's about just expanding into more of who we are. I hear that so much in your story, and it's just so inspiring. So I
Wow,
hope that
thank you.
everyone, yes, oh my gosh, and I can't wait to see what comes next. And you need to come visit Austin so I can hook you up.
I know. Yeah. No, I love Austin. So I'll be there. I tell everybody, I'm like, not that you need a passport to get to Austin, but I'm like, my passport stays open, guys. Like, I travel anywhere and everywhere, far and wide. Like, do not tempt me with a good time or a trip. Like, I will be there. But thank you so much for having me. This has been so great. And it's been just nice to to share in conversation and,
Yes.
talk about the depths of, us as complex like humans and our journeys in life instead of just the accolades or the product. So this has been really cool. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I hope everyone is so inspired and that you guys root into what shapes you and rebirth into what calls you. And as you heard from Kristin, do not shrink and be comfortable. Life is too big and there's too much fun to have. Let's keep growing together. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Hey, y'all. Hey, before I go, a reminder that this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not professional advice. If you need medical, legal, or mental health support, please consult a qualified professional. Be sure to subscribe and follow Roots+Rebirth podcast. You can find me at Terry R. Broussard and movementmakercollective.com. Until next time, it's Terry R. Broussard. I'm cheering you on.